All right. It's the CARESNONE Be Dope podcast. I am your host, Chris CARESNONE, and I got a special guest. Now, before I introduce you, this motherfucker's also my roommate, Mike McNamara, everybody. What's up, man?
Hey, brother. What's up, man? Happy to be on. Finally.
Well,
man,
it's on you, man. I tried to get you on for like 3 months.
I don't know, man.
And then we became roommates.
I know.
You should have easily been able to get on.
Better late than never,
That's
man.
true.
You know, I'm enjoying it, so.
So the first reason I wanted to get you on, actually, let's explain who you are for those who don't know.
Yeah, so my name is Mike Mack. I've been friends with this fool for about 23 years. Went to the same schools and grew up together.
Yep.
Been through a lot of shit. 98% of it fun and good. And yeah, we've been friends ever since. So just happy to be on the podcast and share my thoughts. And cares none. Cares none, people.
Now, when I say the words day one, you're literally that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, and definitely you to me too. Like, you know, we've got a lot of friends, obviously, right? A lot of people have been on the podcast and people know us, but like, there's only a group of maybe 4 to 5 that I would consider like day ones, and you're the number one of that. You know, Steve Coleman. You know, just been friends for
Kevin
for a long time. Kevin, Art, Goo Manny. You know, those are still day one. So, yeah, man. I mean, I think we're blessed that we have so many great friends. You know what I mean?
Now, let me ask you this. Do you consider day ones just people that were around since day one, or like your crew? So I've known guys that I've known for 20-something years, but they're not my day ones.
Yeah, man, definitely. It's more about the relationships, right? Because I know people that are friends of mine now that I knew when I was like 5, but we ain't boys like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's definitely, you know, the people that I have are special, you know. So it's not to do with so much time, but just all that we've been through.
So you know, with me, it's weird because I put numbers on things for some reason, and I'm really weird with numbers. But I would say for me, longevity is a big key.
It's important.
It's not the biggest. It's not the only.
Not the only thing, but yeah, it's definitely important, man. I mean, because look, I mean, you can, and you know, I'm not gonna name names, but there's a few friends of ours that we don't talk to as much as we did before, right? Who we've known for a long time, you know. So definitely, you know, things can change, but when you have been friends with somebody for like 23 years straight, I mean, not many people can say that, man.
That was the point I was about to make. Is a lot of people look at our situation with friendships and how strong it's been. And for instance, like me and Steve have been missing a Sunday for like almost those years too.
Yep.
A lot of people don't have that. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy, man. I was on Facebook, and I won't name names, of course, but there was a girl on there.
I named them motherfuckers. Cares none.
She lives in Kentucky, I believe now, and she posted something that was kind of sorry, like, oh, and she's like, you know, I don't have any friends out here, and how do you meet friends? And I'm looking at that like,
how long they been out there?
Well, I'm not sure how long. I mean, and we've known her for quite a while, but I'm just like, you know, it's just crazy that some people don't have that personality or whatever to meet people, right? Because you know that I've been out of state twice, you know.
Right.
Boy, and I go out there and I'm just a social butterfly. I'm going to the bars and meeting people. It's something that I make sure that I do. And it's just crazy how not everyone has that, right? Like they're not as extroverted as we are. So
yeah, it's so because to me it's so natural, right? It's up to us.
It is.
I'm just a fool, always have been, you know, since we was little kids. Now let me ask you this: what do you think makes a strong friendship?
You know, for me personally, man, I know it's different for everybody.
Or a strong relationship, I guess, in general.
You know,
or friendship. Friendship might be a little different.
For me, it's you know, and it's different for everybody. But like, I've made mistakes, and people have still been there, right? Like that to me is just, it's unbelievable. You know, like you could huff somebody when you're young or whatever.
Right.
And they freaking forgive you, man. And it's like, whoa, that's a friend. You know what I mean? To see that, to say, man, it's okay, and to move on is just, that's a good feeling for me. But I know it's different for everybody.
Yeah. That's a big one. That's a big one. For me, a big one actually is longevity. Yeah. Because it's like, man, like I know when I'm getting 20-something years, you just know a motherfucker at this point. You know what I'm saying? For the most part.
Absolutely.
So longevity is a good one. I believe personally, mentioning shit before it gets too crazy. Yeah. So like if there is a problem, you call it out at the moment. Like say, hey, man, chill with that, and then I feel like you let the big shit get out the way. Like you don't even have to worry about the big shit because you already nipped the small shit.
Yeah.
I'd rather nip the small shit in the butt than the big
Absolutely. And kind of on those same lines too, man. It's another one that just popped in my head is that, we are a lot alike in a lot of ways, but we're different, right? And what do I mean by that? Like, I've seemed to have friends that complement my life, right? Like, and not to talk about the people or whatever, but like, I know where I'm going. I know where I want to go. And I need friends that are going to have those same goals. Right? Like, whatever it is, they're trying to be better. I don't want someone to drag me down. I need someone to drag me up, to bring me up, And, and I can name you, Steve, Coleman, Art. Everyone's doing their thing. Everyone is trying to be better, right? And that's huge, man. Like, and you've known me for a long time. Like, I have no patience for lack of a better word, like a low classness. I've always,
you don't like low class niggas.
I don't like. It's just such a turn off for me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care what color you are, white, black, Hispanic, but if you're trash, like, I don't like that. And I don't mean trash like, listen, man, people go through ups and downs. I don't mean that at all. So don't get it, but I mean, like, you're not even trying. Like, you're okay to be a slob. And you can walk into someone's crib and it's dirty and nasty. It's just like, that's a reflection of you. Right. And it's crazy how people don't think that way. You know what I mean? Dude, that's a reflection of you. Right. If you got a dirty ass crib, like, who wants to go in that? COVID all in your house. You know what I'm saying?
Man, so I feel like I'm would you say that, you live with me. Would you say I'm relatively neat?
You're my first roommate, right? I've been having my places for years now. And, and one of the main reasons why, not only have we been friends, but I like the way you live. Like, your places is always clean.
Yeah, I try to keep it straight. Right.
And that's how I am. Like, I can't be in no nasty place. And I've got some great friends like that are close that are not the cleanest. I'm not gonna name them, but y'all know who y'all are. And it's just like, I can't have like hair in a bathtub and and like
nasty shit.
Like, nah, I can't live like that, bro.
My grandmother. So when she raised me, she was really big on saying this. She was like, my grandmother stays pretty neat.
Absolutely.
And what she always used to say is, I hate going to someone's house and they say, "Excuse my house." It's like I'm about to be embarrassed, And my grandma's like, "We will never do that ever."
It's hilarious, but it's so true, man. It's same for my mom. I was raised the same way, just having a neat house. So kudos to our parents, right? They raised us that way, but yeah, man.
And it's easier if you clean up more as you go. You don't have to do the big cleanup. Right. You know what I'm saying? So as far as someone, like, let's say we go out and people let's come back to the house.
Right.
I remember being a little younger and thinking, I don't want to have to get to. I used to get to the house. Let me go first to clean some shit up.
Right.
I've definitely done it. Like, hey, I'm gonna leave right now. Everybody's still drinking and paying, because I'm like, I got 10 minutes to clean this place up, and I'm like, it's a stressful feeling.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
And then what if you can't? So what if you can't get there 10 minutes or whatever, and you walk at the same time? They're like, oh, okay, so you got cat shit on the floor. You got you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, absolutely. That's hilarious. And it's, and it's crazy how some people that's just how they are.
Remember that one? Okay, remember there was this one person we met. We went to a bachelorette party, and we saw their home that night.
Oh, I know exactly what.
Do you remember how hideous?
Oh my God! I'm like, and like it smelled, and it's like, what? Like,
remember there was cat shit. Remember there was.
Yeah.
There was cat shit in the kitchen bathroom.
Dude, you know what's crazy? Like, what I've learned too, and this is not everybody, obviously. I hate to cast a cloud on everybody, but like, a lot of women are a lot more dirtier than guys.
Oh, that's a fact. That's such a fact.
Like, as I'm in retail, which I'm getting out soon, I'm cleaning the bathrooms. The women's is always disgusting.
Yeah, women are
blood and piss and shit. I'm like, what is like? Wow, y'all supposed to be cleaning, and I think about y'all sexy, and y'all in there taking giant nasty. I'm like, oh my God, man! It's every time. It's every time.
It's always
men's room is always spotless. I'm like, isn't that kind of weird? Right. So anyway.
Well, wait. Maybe is it because you work in jobs that typically it's not all okay. Some of your jobs have been typically where the customer base is female.
It's female, yeah.
But not every job.
But not every job. Not every job. Definitely more now that I'm in a 90% female store, right?
Right.
And maybe it's just the more that are coming in there. It's happening more. But yeah, man, during my career, I'm like, man, why is the women's bathroom always so gross? And again, a lot of women are spotlessly clean, and they probably say it's freaking gross too. But there's a couple that are like, y'all need to step your game up a little bit.
Right. Because I would say growing up, I was kind of under the impression that dudes were dirtier.
Exactly, right? That's just how we're like programmed. Like dudes are nasty, we're sweaty, we're pissing, farting, you know, all that shit.
Right.
And then as I've gotten older, it's like, no, I don't know about that
Now
anymore.
here's the question. How many different dudes' cribs do we go to? And I'm like, so I don't really, most of the people's houses I've been to as I'm getting older are females' cribs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. That's a good point.
I don't really go to a bunch of my
point.
boys' cribs. But so do you think it's an accurate number to say that who's dirtier, women or men? If you had to put it,
I'm gonna go with freaking women, man. I mean, not by much if you break it down, but I can only go off what I've seen, you know, in public spaces, you know, and it's definitely been the women's bathroom.
Now I'll tell you this: I had an ex-girlfriend, right, who was definitely messy, right, super junky, shit everywhere, not gross, not like nasty, like dirty, but like junky, stuff, But how she kept her personal body was super clean.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So I wonder, like, because like she would take hours in the fucking shower and clean, get all the different products, everything you need to be extra, you know, exfoliated and all that kind of shit. But it was junky in the house.
Good point. And you know, my longest term one, Christy. You know, we lived together for a while, and it's the same.
How long was that?
Like 3.5 years, almost 4 years.
Was it 3.5?
From like 25 to like 28, 29. Crazy time of my life. But yeah, same thing, man. Like she was just so junky, and I would get on her like, "Can you clean this place up?" You know, I mean, she's spotless. You know, she's clean, and goes to work and great, but like just junky. So I don't know if that's a thing or you know or what. But
to me, it feels better. It feels better to walk into a clean situation than to walk into a dirty one.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what I do sometimes when I cook at night, and it was way worse when I drank, and we'll talk about that in a little bit because that's a great topic. But when I would drink and cook, I wouldn't necessarily want to clean up right after I'm done eating. So I would sometimes I'll let it overnight, but then do it in the morning.
Right.
But if I knew people were coming, I would obviously clean at the time. But that's the one time that I'm okay with letting something be dirty.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. And listen, I ain't got to come in your crib and it's got to be spotless every time, right? You know what I mean? And you can tell, like, someone's just, they were tired or whatever, but then you can tell, like, someone. It
was just filthy.
Dude, there's roaches on the floor, bro. like, what are you doing?
Dude, I might have told this story on the podcast. This was when I was working at Applebee's back in the day. This was years ago.
I remember that.
And I was with a buddy who worked there, and we're, like, going to get some weed or some shit. We went to somebody's house, okay? We walked into the house. Or we walked to the door, knocked on it. He's like, hey, come on in. This motherfucker's a hoarder, like legit hoarder. Like the ones you see on TV. It was awful, right?
Oh, my God.
Like really bad. And a bunch of cats.
So funny.
Right? And it smelled like cat piss. Typical. What you thinking is what I saw.
Oh.
Check this out. This motherfucker had the nerve to say, yeah, just take your shoes off. I was like, what? Take my shoes off.
Are you joking?
I literally, but like
you're kidding, right?
What do you say in that situation? What do you say in that situation?
All right, dog, I'm out. I'll holler at you, man.
That's really hard. That's hard to do in the moment, man. It's really hard.
Thanks for having me over. I appreciate it.
I feel like, because I remember thinking like, and I'm more outspoken now, so I think maybe I would handle it different now. But that was years ago, and I'm like, oh no, he wants me to take my shoes off in this trash, right? So I took it off, and now I'm walking around, and you know how you feel like you're just dirty?
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to be smaller, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to just be smaller.
Like not.
Like not moving.
I don't want to touch nothing.
I don't even want to touch the air in this motherfucker. Like I think I'm getting sick breathing it in. So anyways, so we go upstairs, and the stairs are all fucked. Everything's gross. They had carpet too, just even worse. To me, like you can get away with floors a little bit. Carpet, you cannot. This shit is gross.
It's either good or bad.
So we go upstairs to this nigga room, and then I remember like I'm talking. No, you can't see the floor with so much stuff.
God.
And then like this beat up ass mattress, and then we had like wait for somebody. So he's like, yeah, man, just have a seat.
Dude, I just can't be in that stuff, you know. And you said something that kind of like it hit me, man. It's like, how many of us wish that we could have our brains of now, like 35 and 36, but at like 21? Right? Like all the stuff that we've been through, the freaking dumb shit that we've done.
Right.
And some of it fun, but still dumb. Like, why are you like, that is stupid. Like you're doing something
Yeah.
that is legitimately stupid. And you just do it, whatever. You know, it's funny.
Well,
how
I
that
think
is,
it's the
man.
experience,
You know?
though, because maybe at the time, like, it's stupid, but you don't feel like you know what I think it is? We're getting older, so we realize our time is getting less, right? So
Yeah,
relative
good
to that, when
point.
you're 20, 17,
Good point.
you feel like you're good. Like,
you're freaking invincible, you know. Like you
right.
can't get sick, you can't die. You got so much time. Like if you fuck up, I got 20 years left to
Right,
get it
right,
better, you know.
right.
I mean, when you're 35, it's like, yeah, I can't really fuck up too much more.
yeah, you can't. Yeah, I got a few
You know,
more lifelines left.
I'm one fucking bankruptcy away from suicide, man. Like I can't do that no more. You know what I mean? I'm kidding, y'all. But you know what I'm saying? Like I can't fuck up no more. You know? So
Well, which is a good segue, because right now you are doing a sober month.
yeah.
How you feeling, man? How's it been?
Dude, it's great, man. It's great. Obviously, you know, stepping up from what you've been doing for 3 months, which is even doper.
More than 3 months now.
More than 3 months now, right? It's just, I recommend everyone do that. Just do 1 month a year, man, right?
At least.
It just helps you flush your body out. And you know what's crazy? And again, this is the 35-year-old saying it. It's like, man, why do we even drink at all? Like, what's the point? You feel better. You have more money.
Yep.
Like, your brain is fresher.
Yep.
Like, I had, 9 interviews in 2 hours, and I aced them all, right? Because I wasn't drinking. Like, I was just clean, you know? Like, why do we do things that hurt our body? It's just crazy to think about, you know what I mean? And, yes, sometimes it's fun and in moderation, and I get all that. But, man, when you break it down, people who stop drinking are loving life way more than people that are, you know?
Dude.
It's
And
just a fact.
I know I've been harping on this on the show, but it's a big part of my life, man, because I drink. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sorry. And I know, like, for instance, it is inspiring to some people. They say, if Chris can go,
oh my God,
if Chris is a fucking, he gets down, and if he can stop it, for me, and I've said this before, the reason why I was drinking it was more so about social interactions, right? We've talked about this.
Right.
And it made me feel like it gave me, and I was already extroverted, it made me more extroverted, right? And then the main thing I've noticed, because that was my problem, is that you don't need that shit.
Right.
Like you can be open and yourself with that. And I thought that I needed that shit. And it gives you the liquid courage, you know. You know how we be at the club or the bar, and once we get turned, then you can't sell us shit.
I mean, people see us now and how we're so outgoing. I mean, see us when we're drunk.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, we can go up to anybody.
Yeah, and say
have
anything.
A full-fledged conversation. You know what I mean? And it's just so yeah, man. I mean, definitely someone like you doesn't need that. And it's just.
But I thought I did though.
And it's crazy how, you know, when you're young, like you can't wait to be 21. Like everything is glorified, like with liquor and partying. Like when you think about it, just I can't wait to be 21 so I can go to the bars and go to Vegas. And it's like subconsciously put like into our minds that that's fun. And that's what you should do.
I mean, that's because of the commercials and shit. Like, you know, and then like even now the rappers, they all got the bottle of whatever.
It's you know, life is crazy, man. It's crazy.
It's like a big part of being like alive. Is
drinking or other stuff, you know, like people. And look, some of it, I get some of the reason, right? It's a tough life, you know.
Treacherous.
It's and like you said before, like none of us asked to be here
at all.
We're thrown into this shit, you know, and we live pretty good comparative to the world, but like still,
I would say we live excellent compared to the world.
I mean, there's everyday stress. Like I have to go to work.
Right.
Like I have to pay my bills. I've got, you know what I'm saying? It's just life is overall stressful, and I think drinking or doing drugs, like whatever your flavor is, it kind of can kind of make it not so bad, I guess, you know, and take some of the edge off, right? And I think that's why a lot of people do it too. So
I know for a fact. So, you know, my mom had a drug problem.
Mm-hmm.
She was pretty hardcore. And growing up, I would think as a young person not understanding life, like, how could you choose that shit over me? You know what I'm saying? That was like the thought as a young kid.
those same thoughts, yeah.
So I'm like, damn, you're going to choose that shit over me? Like, wow. You know what I'm saying? And then I wasn't that close because of the whole situation.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking that's the reason why. It's because of the drugs.
Right.
And I would always kind of just blame, you know, I would always like a little bit of a fuck you-ish to that, you know? May she rest in peace. But as I got older and I realized, it's like, my mom had multiple sclerosis.
Yeah, man. She had pain.
She had pain. Know. And so, not to mention, actually, she didn't have pain because that's what it cut off your nerves, but she couldn't feel her leg. It was like numb. She practically had one leg, but still had to move this other dead leg around, so to speak. because it's like a nerve issue. Anyways, and then you have to add on the mental issue with that. So now you can't walk, and now she's a handicap. You know what I'm saying? And every time, we went to the Great America.
Yep.
And that actually clutched us in that situation because you get to get in front, in the front of the line. But that's still tough to have to worry about that. So you got all this shit you're going through in life, and someone's like, hey, this will make you feel better.
Right. That's the thing, man. I'm glad you said that because, like, I have no patience for people who look down upon people who have an issue with drugs or drinking. Like, I don't. Like, man, I mean, first of all, a lot of people do, and you don't even know it.
Yep.
And second of all, it's stressful, man. And then once you get hooked, it's hard to stop.
Right.
It ain't easy, man.
Right.
Like, it's a freaking disease. So, I just have no patience for that kind of stuff,
When I learned how to relax on people's addictions when I realized my own.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's huge.
That was for me because food has always been my biggest one, and it still is. So I used to always be like, man, if you can't stop, gambling, just stop. I used to always think this so naive. Just stop.
Same here. Stop. Just stop cold turkey.
So yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just stop. And so that was always a thing until I realized, wait a minute, nigga, you're addicted to food. Like to the point where like I'm thinking about it constantly all the time, every day, all day. And then so look how I lost, transformed my body with this huge addiction. I'm a kudos to myself for that.
Yeah.
But it's a motherfucker. So I'm like, so and then I can't even help it. I don't want to think about it. I don't desire it. Like I'd rather not. I know how much just fucks my life up. I don't want to think about it. And you still do. That's a fucking addiction. Yep. That's a problem. So that helped me not say fuck all the other problems. Like, you guys are you're weak.
Yeah.
Like, nah, motherfucker, we're all weak.
Yep. And that's the thing too, man. You said something else that was cool. Is like, we all have our issues, and it's an issue. Like even like when you stop doing it, it's still in the back of your mind. It's like that weird little thing, like the little freaking devil on your shoulders, like, hey, Mike, go ahead and do this, man. You're fine. I mean, you're good, right? You go ahead. It's like, shut up talking to me, dude. You know what I mean? Fuck. So it never goes away. It'll always be a challenge for you. But that's what makes life good, man, because you just keep on trying to do better, and you keep fighting those demons, and you beat them sometimes, and hopefully you beat them more than you don't. So,
And the thing about, for me, beating demons, to help people, understand why, because I feel like I try to beat my demons all the time, right? Yeah, and I feel like I do a good job, at least like trying, which is like the biggest steps a lot of times, just even start.
Right.
Some people don't even start. But what has helped me is I challenge myself to be uncomfortable, and I've been doing this for years now.
Yeah.
So I really think anyone who's trying to work on like certain things, start little. Start like the things that are a little bit easier instead of the big dollar. If you're an alcoholic, maybe try, or as far as time frame, maybe try a weekend if your problem, or maybe try a week. But let's break it down to something else. Like for me, I would just do little things to make myself uncomfortable. And I've talked about this many times. And I've always been working on things like cold showers, shit like that, or not masturbate and shit like that. So and again, those are all tough things for me. Yep. But the more you can just chip at all of them, the easier that big one's going to be.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So that, to me, that'd be a good way to start if anyone's trying to do shit with their habits and shit.
And to kind of piggyback on you, it's to have a plan and set goals, right? And what I mean by that is like, if you told me, Mike, stop drinking in August, there's no way, right? I wasn't mentally ready for that. You know what I mean? I knew October, that was my date, and it was planned. So it's like now I have something that I mean, if I fail, I failed, right? Because I had that plan, So don't just go into something like one day, I'm going to stop drinking tomorrow. You're like, no, think about it, have a plan, go in there prepared, because if you just willy-nilly stuff, it'll never work out. So,
See, I'm going to disagree a little bit, but I think most people that will work. Mm-hmm. For me, I'm the kind of person who, if you're going to do it right. If you really want it, but it depends on how, if you really need it. Yeah. Now, and here's my rebuttal to that, or the reason why I believe in that. Because if you go to the doctor with your kid and they say your kid's gonna die if you keep bringing in certain foods in the house, I promise you, from that day forward, if you care about this kid's life, you're gonna stop. Right. So when you really you need something. So I guess what's a bigger thing, an addiction or love for yourself or child?
Good point.
What's more powerful?
Good point.
Love for your loved ones.
And that's the thing about you too, man, because you've always been like, if I can say one thing about you, is that you've always been like ballsy and balls out. Like you'd go hard.
Super hard.
Like you go hard with
everything.
shit. And I'm like you can never say that Chris Campbell has not gone for shit. And that's why I think that so many people follow you and like you. You have so many friends. Is that, dude? I mean, you've tried things that people won't even think about trying. Like this right here. Like who does that? You know what I mean? Like you're trying to like do your dreams, and most people can't even get out of bed and talk to somebody. You know what I mean?
Man,
so that's dope, man. Like just balls on. I'm gonna stop drinking now. Done. You haven't drank in 3 months. Like what? How do you do that? You know?
Man,
it's crazy to me.
Well, one thing is because I realize anything that's going to be a big transformation is not going to happen overnight. So
yeah.
When you do something, you have to be willing to go the distance to feel the effects most of the time for anything.
Good point.
Like working out, you know it.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna feel good. As a matter of fact, that first couple times is gonna be
horrible.
horrible.
It's gonna be rough.
You know what I'm saying? But you stay on it and you trust the process. That's a big one for me.
Yeah.
I read that, trust the process. I'm like, man, and the process is out there. All the formulas are out there, especially with the internet. Like information's out there. Just go find it.
And what do they say? Like after 3 weeks of doing something, it becomes a habit, or 4 weeks.
21 days, I think.
Yeah,
21 days.
You know,
or 30
and then
days.
and I bet you feel this way now. Tell me if I'm wrong. That now that you've stopped drinking for so long, like you would probably feel bad if you did tomorrow, right?
Oh,
it would be
yeah.
like I just had 3-4 months
For what? And what situation would warrant getting over that?
Yeah, like why?
You go to the
I'm
bar,
on a roll,
right.
you know. So
Right.
that becomes a thing too. Like once you get going, it's like, man, I don't want to go back. Like I want to keep going forward.
Especially
you know?
because, and I've been so vocal about what the benefits versus the bads are, and there really is no benefit.
Yeah.
Especially when for the reason that it was a benefit for me, I can get there without it.
Yeah.
So like as far as social, everyone's a social drinker, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, I always called myself a social drinker, and I was, but guess who's always fucking social?
Right,
It's like
you're social anyway.
Yeah, you're just a fucking alcoholic. Then. Like you social drinker, or you an alcoholic? But I was the kind. You know me. I wouldn't come home I wasn't that kind.
Nope.
I never drank by myself ever.
That's a different.
It's a different kind. But I feel like I needed it. That's how I know it's a problem. Like when you feel like you need some shit.
Like you can't have fun without this. That's a problem. So think about that, y'all. You know.
Or and like for instance, and I know the cold shower thing's vicious, but it's a good point. People say, "Oh, I could never even try that. I need my warm shower." It's like, well, listen, you might want them. You don't fucking need them.
Right.
You, that's in your head because you're uncomfortable with how it feels. But you don't need a warm shower. I'm the proof to fucking, or even, do you need to have a big dick? No, because how many girls,
Right.
no, hear me out. How many girls have you heard say they had been with a small dick?
Yeah.
All of them, right?
Yeah.
So obviously small dick motherfuckers still fucking. Yeah. Right?
I love it.
So you got that, or just you don't need shit, man.
Right.
We don't need shit. And I think that's what I'm starting to learn as I get older. Like, do you need that?
Right.
Do you need that nice pair of shoes?
Right.
Do you need, you know what I'm saying? And how about this? Being with certain girls, like, do you even need to fuck this chick?
Right.
That's, as I'm getting older, it's like, I don't want to
Yeah.
fuck that one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Definitely.
saying?
And that's a funny, to another segue, like, that's another thing, too, about us that's been cool of late, is not, like not having to, impress a chick, right? Or
anybody for that matter.
Yeah, going into like the whole ladies thing, and we've had a lot of women in our lives. We've been very social and whatever, But like now, it's like the point where like
that's the funny way to say it. We've been very social,
social, like
very social beings.
Like, I like turn down stuff all the time. Like I don't really want to be with you or talk
It ain't
to
worth
you.
it.
You know what I mean? Like I don't want to do that. 10 years ago.
Yeah, 5 years ago.
I'm gonna fuck anything that walks,
Yeah.
But now it's just like I have different priorities and different things. You know what I mean? Like I want someone that's gonna actually be enjoyable to talk to.
And when you're sober, it's even easier to make that smart decision.
Right.
Going back to the alcohol
Like when
again.
you drink, it's like, oh, okay, let me just,
How many terrible mistakes have you made in your life sober?
God, like 2?
2? No joke.
Seriously.
Seriously, too.
Seriously.
What percentage of all of your hideous mistakes have been including booze?
98% of my problems have been because of liquor. Like seriously,
I know.
freaking DUIs and stuff, and, and just hungovers and missing job interviews and calling off work, and it's all been liquor fights.
Yeah,
liquor.
And even if it's something else, a lot of times the liquor stemmed to something else, that stemmed to something else, that stemmed to the fucking problem.
Right. Exactly. It's always boils down to liquor, man. So like, guess what, y'all? Stop drinking, And those problems aren't problems anymore.
Man, especially
Right?
no, unless you can handle alcohol
or have like a drink and then you're good.
which I can't even fathom that thought. What the fuck is the point of having one? To me, it don't taste that good to have just one, right? That's what I always say. If I'm a drink, nigga, let's drink.
Right.
I don't want to have one. And listen, I like wine. I do.
Yeah.
And if I ever drink again, it will definitely be wine. Because I actually enjoy that more, but it still don't taste better than grape juice.
Like, taste good, right? It tastes kind of bitter and dry.
Yeah, and then you have to like trick your even whiskey, which I
right.
like. You have to trick your brain.
Yeah.
That's what they say. You have to what's the word? You have to discover the your palate.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What's the terminology?
Well, that's why people have like Jack and Diet. Like no one just has Jack all the time. I just want a cup of Jack.
Wait, I mean, and the true killers.
The true killers. Jack Daniels on a rock bottle to the head. You know.
You ever seen the motherfuckers chug a whole bottle of Jack?
His name's Fred. God rest him. My old uncle, man, was like when you think of an alcoholic, like Fred's name and picture would be right there.
He was
man.
brutal.
Like, and a lot of you guys know Fred, or some of you guys do. Like that's an alcoholic. Like he's in a whole new league. I'm talking.
I got some stories.
He
too.
wakes up and he has to have a bottle of liquor to function, or else he's shaking.
Yeah, right.
Like that's a whole new ball game of being an alcoholic.
He was
man.
brutal.
Funny dude, though. Funny dude.
Yeah, hilarious. I remember.
know?
I have a story about Fred. Okay, we already had a few stories about Fred. I remember one day. So I was living with Keith.
Yep.
And Bump Johnson, Squeaky, Leonard. And I remember coming home one day, and Keith was like, "Hey, we had to go in there and get your quarters." He said, "No, he said we had to go in your room and get your silver." I'm like, "My silver?"
Like, what are you talking about?
I'm like, "What the fuck silver do I have?" I never get that. He goes, "Yeah, man.
Oh
Hey, LC, we had to go in there and get your silver." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Man." He goes, "Fred, man." I'm like, "What's up with Fred? What does anything in my room have to do with Fred?"
God.
He goes, "Man, Fred had the shakes, man. We had to get something to drink." He goes, "And we didn't have no money, so we had to go in there, and I knew you had those quarters in
Had to
there."
take your silver.
He took my silver. First of all, who the fuck calls it silver?
Oh my God.
So I guess he took like $6 in quarters and went and got like the little 1-man pint, and then I guess he was good.
Like, I'm telling y'all, like when you think of like the old like black man that's drunk, like in any TV show, like that's Fred. Like that's him. That is the person who played that. Like he was drunk all day, every day, smiling. Like, hey y'all, hey Mikey, how you doing? Like just hilarious.
Seeing him get upset was hilarious too. Yeah,
you motherfucker.
Motherfucker. Oh, mother. He was in the war?
Yeah, he was in the army back in. I think he was a cook though. Like he wasn't like.
Oh, he was killing niggas.
But it's still crazy.
Yeah, still right.
I think that he was on the boat and shit. So, so you see shit.
It can still be fucked up.
And like back in like Vietnam. I mean, it was a rough time for a lot of people.
Right.
So a lot of people came back and did drugs, and he just never stopped. So, and what's funny about Fred too was, he had epilepsy, and he stuttered really bad, and that's where I probably got it from. It runs in the family. And then you would never even know that when he got older because he like drank it away, like he drank his problems away. He didn't stutter anymore. I mean, I've never seen him have an episode,
Yeah, I've never seen it either.
Yeah. But yeah, so we had a lot of issues, and I guess the liquor cured it for him, which is kind of crazy. But
I mean, he pretty much did what he wanted to do, right?
He lived his life, man. Look, and he didn't hurt nobody. He didn't hurt nobody.
He would actually hook you up,
right? He would hook you up. He was nice. You come to his crib, and
we used to party at his shit all the time.
So, was he a bad dude? I don't think he was a bad dude. He just had his
turned
problems.
Up, yeah, like everyone else, but he just got out of.
How you gonna judge somebody like that?
And I wonder if being part of the war and seeing some crazy shit, you had that PTSD shit or whatever. Just
you never know. And like now, it's like a big thing now, like PTSD, and there's like shrooms for that. But like back then, you came home and you drank or you did coke. Like that's what you did. So
well, that's a good segue in because I wanted to get something because you wouldn't even believe what the timing was.
Oh my God! Really?
I'm not gonna. We gotta live in life, but it goes fast, right?
Just keep talking.
So it goes because we never got into it about being biracial.
Oh yeah.
In this climate, and then growing up, and before you entered, I wanted to say the reason why it's important to at least get to someone's opinion because you can see both sides of aisles and shit, right? But I remember and I'm black, but I grew up in white suburbia and spoke white, quote unquote white.
Yep.
And I remember what I have felt is that, but yours would be, I would imagine, even more because you literally are white and literally are black. So growing up, what was it like?
It was, I mean, it was normal to me, right? Because I didn't know anything different. But like now that I look back on it, kind of reflect, it was definitely around my mom's side, more the black side. And, a lot of them were, typical South Side or whatever, or North Side people. I wouldn't call them ghetto, but just Afrocentric, and my dad's side didn't really talk to us much. So now looking back, it's like, that's interesting. I talked to my uncle a little bit, and my grandma was great, but that was it, man. Like, I haven't seen them since like my grandma's funeral in like 1995.
So do you think that maybe they were like the rest of the family was looking at your dad like, man,
they're racist? Yeah, 100%. My dad has said that too. And my dad's very standoffish, and he doesn't give a shit about them. And he doesn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he don't
give a
fuck.
Then.
Right. But yeah, man, it's just it's interesting to look back at that, especially now in our climate with Trump and 2020 and stuff. I've always been me. I've never considered myself white or black. I've always had more black friends though, right?
Right.
But again, we've always been like, I don't want to, put a title on it, but like the suburban black dude.
For sure. Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like we ain't no, we ain't no.
I'm hella
You
suburban.
know what I mean?
Right,
Like, listen, and we can hang out with people that are from the hood and do, what I mean? And we have, like, it ain't no issue. But nigga, I'm talking the way that I talk. This is how I talk,
Yeah, right.
I know I can't stop yelling because that's how I talk, that's who we are. And it's funny that you brought that up too, or that I brought that up, like how we have these stereotypical things of people, like because you're black, like you should be Afrocentric or talk ghetto, or you're white. You know what I mean? So that's a problem too that we still got to fix. Like, why is that talking white? How about this is just talking the way that we talk, right?
Right.
But that's another issue. You know what I mean?
And that's most of the time, and not just amongst our people, but amongst black people, that's a thing in our community.
Yeah.
Remember that movie Crash?
Yes.
Remember there was a scene in the movie, I think it was Tony Danza, I think, that he was on the he was like on the director, and they were doing this clip or they're doing this action shot, and then it was over, and then the Danza goes to the director and goes, "Hey, what's up with the black kid talking like that?" and the black kid was talking proper, you know what I'm saying? Talking real English. And then the black director was like, "What are you talking about?" He literally had no idea. And then Tony Danza character, I think that was his name, he was like hinting, he's like, "Don't you think it's a little like it's a little bit much?" And then the guy still has no idea. He's like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Well, you got the black kid, he's talking like he's educated." And it was a problem. And the cool thing about that movie, if you remember, it was like real shit that happens.
Yeah.
So that just brings me back to the point we were talking about is why is talking white considered, or why is talking proper considered white?
Right. And I don't know if I even have the answer to that. It's a deeper question, right? But it's crazy how that is. Like, you expect, or you assume that a black kid is going to have kind of that Afro twang, that a little bit of that ghetto slang, right? But like, dude, he doesn't have to, or on the flip side, like, we'll look at a white dude who's talking like he's from the hood, and we're like, well, it's just a white dude. So, you know what I mean?
Right,
so it goes both ways. It's just crazy how we're programmed, how this TV set has programmed us to think a certain way, and when you think outside that box, it's kind of different for people.
Yeah, and it's so, I know I'm so much more open-minded to different people because I'm breaking certain stereotypes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this, a little off topic, but on the same topic, kind of. You've always been like a bigger man than most people. Mm-hmm. And even when you were like hella skinny, you were still taller, so you were still bigger than everyone else. Do you feel that being dark-skinned and bigger, that you had to almost nicen it up? Did you ever feel that way?
Me personally, no. And maybe that's naive of me, right? Because my skin is dark, and I'm no different, even though I'm half. I mean, no one knows that, right?
Wait, hold on. Everyone knows you mix with something.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't even get mixed. What do you get most times?
Oh,
Hispanic, Puerto Rican,
Dominican.
Como estás?
Very few times have I got like just black, or I never get white, obviously. But
white motherfucker.
Yeah, you're white ass. But yeah, man, I personally have never felt, and maybe because of where we grew up, because like even though we grew up like in Wheeling, which is a predominantly white area, it was a good mixture, man, which was dope. Right?
I don't know if you saw the Horwich episode. He was saying that too. It was like,
yeah,
he was saying that was a cool thing, and I agree.
Such a good mixture of Mexican, black, white. It was just like
Asian, Indian.
It was just perfect. Like we had every color friends, man. And I think
but it was still mostly.
It was 90% white,
right?
But you wouldn't know because there was still a lot of black people, a lot of Mexican people. You know what I mean?
And people fucked with each other,
right.
like it was still cliquey to a degree.
Yeah.
But if it intermingled, it was never a problem.
We were all still friends. You know what I mean? And we're still friends now. You know what I'm saying? So it was just dope that we had a chance to grow up the way. Not every place is like that. You know, we're in the north. You know, we're not in freaking Georgia or Texas, so it's different, but it's, I'm just so thankful that we went to where we did because it was just, what a great experience, man, Man,
you know what? and not to throw my grandmother under the bus, but one of her whole things was if I didn't go to a historically black college, I wouldn't be successful. And that's why I specifically did not go to a historically black college. It was, I'm like, Mom, that's fucked up. And the thing is, I get it. I understand it from her perspective because when she was going to school, it was like that, and it was a problem. But I'm like, Ma, you have no idea, at least how I feel in my heart. I'm gonna speak for no one else except for myself.
Yeah,
I don't feel that way, 0%.
And your mom was always tough, I guess is the word I'll say. She was tough, strong black woman, right?
Yeah, like one of the strongest,
great person, But yeah, I remember my mom was like, man, she's like
she's tough.
She's kind of tough, and that's okay, man, because she grew up in a different time when she had to be, right?
Right.
When everyone wasn't like the Scotty H's and the Mike Swatkeviches,
right, right.
Motherfuckers were a little racist. You might have to whoop somebody's ass. You know what I mean? So like. I don't blame her for that at all. You know what I mean? And she just wants the best for you. And obviously.
No, yeah, she obviously clearly wanted the best for me. She believed that.
Right.
But I'm like, she might be. And listen, she's still right to some degree.
Yeah.
That obviously it probably would benefit you to go to his, and that they're designed like
teach you
and
certain stuff.
There should be no systemic anything because it's for black people. So I get that. But to say that I could not be successful unless I did that is what threw me off. Yeah. I'm like, I'll fuck around and not go at all and still be successful.
Right.
And and I think the world's coming around to the fact that college ain't what it, you know what I'm saying? People are fucked, all kinds of money and shit.
I mean, I got all this, all my debt is like student loans, man. It's crushing. And thank God that we ain't paying them right now. But like, dude, like how do you, and that's why that's a big political topic right now is that if you get rid of everyone's student loan debt, dude, I mean, we could go buy a house. Like, I could buy a house and help the economy. You know what I mean?
Right,
like, get rid of that student loan stuff, And that's another topic. But it's just like, it's crushing. And for what? To make $50,000 a year?
Right.
Like, that's not what I signed up for.
No.
Like, I want to make 180. I'm making 50.
Right.
Like, that didn't help me the way that I thought it would, So, anyway.
Yeah. Steve went to, like, Heartland.
Okay.
Which is next to ISU.
Oh,
it's
right,
a community college next to
yep.
ISU for a little bit. He might have went to Harvard. I don't know. So he like didn't do shit. But look at him doing very well.
Fucking fantastic.
And so the whole I just feel like they've pumped that shit into our head.
Yeah.
And like especially now, because the information, the internet, especially now, because you can go to some specifically what you like. Where school was a little fluffery. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some really cool things about like specifically high school. Is because interacting with human beings. I think that's the only part that I really truly give a fuck about with school is that you get forced to be around other humans and know how to deal in society. But as far as like what I've learned from college or high school is like almost nothing.
I remember nothing in my college.
Logarithms.
And I got all A's and I never remember nothing. And I think, and my dad said this best, he says, I think the good thing about going to college is that it shows people that you're willing to do something to better yourself, right? It ain't necessarily like what you're learning. He's putting in the time